My name is Mike Sweere, and I'm part of this show called Folklore at the Ivy Arts Center. I'm standing in front of one of my pieces here that's made out of recycled tin material. I build these collages out of old fruitcake and cracker and food canisters that I've collected from thrift stores, and then put together collages on plywood with hammer and nails. And at our show that's opening on Saturday night, there's going to be a whole bunch of that work done in tin, as well as wood sculptures we've built and all different kinds of mosaics and found art, and it's going to be really cool. So
my name's Flueger, I'm a photographer. I live in St. Paul. For the last few years I've been hanging out down around Fort Snelling and creeping through some of the abandoned buildings down there, or just around the edges, and checking out the textures and all of the, I guess the imagery that you can find in a group of buildings that have been falling apart for the last 50 years. And this one was taken at the Cavalry Drill House, which was recently bought by the Boy Scouts and has been renovated. This space actually no longer exists, but it looked great when I saw it. So come on down to Foundlore and check us out. You're going to like it.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sweere. This is my art project entitled Bottle Cap Old Glory. It's a mosaic made out of bottle caps from beer, pop, and various beverages. It was a challenge finding enough red, white, and blue caps to make up this project. But that's part of the fun when I make these projects. I'm always searching for the right color or the right cap. And it's just one of the many mediums that I like to work in. I'm from the Twin Cities, and our show at Foundlore is open to the public.
Hi, I'm Kristoffer, and this is my painting. It's part of a group show, and it's one that I've included because the show's theme is reusage and recycling and folk art. The reusage in this piece is not necessarily physical. It's very much about iconography, religion, different types of artistic style and genre, things like that. And I've combined all these things in a lot of my work to my own rendition of my own type of artwork. I'm not a very religious person, so what I'm doing is kind of reinterpreting some of those things in my own mind and rearranging them so that they work for me. As far as the painting goes, it's a lot of acrylic and varnish with a frame by my friend John, who's also in the show. The images were thought out and painted, but oftentimes my approach can be a little more stream of consciousness, and I think what's happening with this show is a very good thing, and it has a lot to do with what's happening in the world right now. So it's not necessarily about recycling just objects, although there is a lot of that in the show. It's also ideas, and it's a lot of expressions and traditions, and a lot of themes and genres and things like that that we're recycling in our own right and bringing them to the surface as much as we can as artists.
John Sweere. I'm a fine artist. I originally studied classical realism painting and drawing, and did that for many years as a student, and then ventured off on my own form of creativity. Probably every 2-3 years I completely reinvent my artistic style. In the last probably 3 or 4 years I threw myself at ceramics and clock making. This is one of my ceramic and glass clocks that I fire at home in my kiln. I throw the pottery, and then melt glass into the face of the clock. I'm really into functional art, things that you can use on a daily basis that not only look beautiful, but they also have some sort of form of function. After about 30 or 40 of these clocks that I sold, I began to just sort of lose interest in refabricating something over and over again. So I began to explore glass and glass fusion in a kiln, which follows similar principles of ceramics. The most simplest forms of slumping glass would be to take a bottle and put it in the kiln and fire it at a very slow rate. And then eventually, once it reaches a certain temperature, the bottle melts very quickly on its own. But I have to be very careful not to take it out of the kiln too quickly, or the glass will crack and break, and then my inexpensive bottle suddenly is going to be thrown into the recycling bin. But I managed to slump a variety of old-fashioned bottles. I like things that are a little more vintage-looking because it has more of an antique appeal to it. My main emphasis is on humor and just being melancholy and make people happy with my artwork.